if you listen to enough people, you realize most people are going through this.
I've been married to my husband for over a year. The last time we had sex was 10 months ago. The spark is not there anymore, for me at least. What's happening to us?
So there's a lot of different reasons that relationships end up sexless. And sexless in like theory is supposed to be less than 10 times a year. And so if you haven't had sex in 10 months, it's possible that you can qualify as being a sexless relationship. I could not sit here based on a question and tell you exactly why that's happening, but that's the thing with chemistry. When you first got into a relationship, you had different chemicals at play. You were a different person. You were in a different health position. And so your result was something that you enjoyed. But now over time, something has shifted. You got to figure out what that something is. And I think you can use the scientific theory to do this. Now, I know that sounds a little bit stiff and robotic, but it actually is a really good practice. So get a hypothesis together. I think the reason why sex has been lacking in our relationship is because I am not getting enough foreplay. So try doing foreplay. If it's not that, okay, it's not that. I think that we are sexless because of the fact that we don't spend enough quality time outside the bedroom. Then you try that experiment out. So I would say do that. Come up with 10 different theories and test them all out. And when you find that right chemistry, ride that wave until it's no more, and then go back to the drawing board and find out that new thing. Like, don't take for granted chemistry. It's not a given. It definitely is something to be worked for and to be observed.
Okay, the next question is, I love my boyfriend so much, but we're just not having sex. Is that terms to leave him?
If you have identified sex as being a priority for you in a romantic relationship, then absolutely that's grounds for leaving. It's like if you're hired for a job, for your accounting skills, and you decide midway through you don't want to do that anymore, well, it appears you no longer qualify for this job because that's what you were brought on board for. And so if you got engaged with someone because the sex was really good and that's a part of what you enjoyed and that helps you in your life, and then that item is no longer on the table, that completely changes the conversation. So while it is a harsh thing to say, it may be a matter of like, you know what, out of a romantic partner, this is a qualification for me, but I do still enjoy you, so maybe we ease into friendship, or maybe we ease into business partners. Whatever it is that we're successful at together, let's focus on that. But if the sex thing is something that you really can't pick up the pace in, or you're not willing to open the relationship up, then yeah, that's grounds to leave.
So another person wrote in, my girlfriend doesn't put any effort into grooming or initiating sex anymore, and we've only been dating for a year. What do I do?
What we tend to do in relationships is we send our representative out to date, and our representative says and does all the right things, and then once we are engaged, we now become our true selves. Most of the time it takes, sometimes 4 years, sometimes 2 months, but when you see a pattern drop off really, really quickly, maybe consider the person wasn't being authentic to begin with. They were doing what they thought they had to do in order to capture you, and now they've gotten lazy. So there's 2 things to look at this. Number 1, it could be like reminding that person again through how you feel, not about them. Like, you're sloppy, you don't care about yourself, you're ugly, who would like you? It's more like, when you don't put effort in your appearance, I don't feel important. So it's only been a year. If that major thing is not changing, you've expressed how you feel, they're not making the adjustments, it's time to look at it like this is not a fit.
What is the average amount of times a couple should have sex after being together for more than a couple of years?
So statistically, the average amount of time that couples have sex, even when they're in the 30th year of marriage, tends to be 2 times a week. But I really hate the normals when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, if you have a chart and you're ticking off a box like, okay, we've satisfied this chart, so now we can move on, you're probably not doing sex in a way that's supposed to be done. You're supposed to enjoy doing it and want to do it and not do it because that meets the social norm. It's what your norm is. So focus on like, how much do you need it? I might need it more than somebody else. You may need it less. You may need it way more. And that's what compatibility is about, is being authentic on what you need and finding a partner who's able to meet your demands.